answer everything that I had given to you, especially the Padlet and the rest of the activities that I had given to you a few weeks ago. So kindly answer those. All activities are still open, except for examinations because I had set deadlines for the examinations. Okay, so our topic for this evening is the lesson 2, mathematical language and symbols under the mathematics in the modern world, the general education curriculum. So the intended learning outcomes for these topics are discuss the language, symbols, and conventions of mathematics, explain the nature of mathematics as a language, and perform operations and mathematical expressions correctly. Then, acknowledge that mathematics is a useful language. So, this session is divided into 2 parts. Because this is a very long topic, I'll be discussing only topics 1 and 2. Topic 3 for the logic will be separately discussed probably next week. Okay, so topic 1, the mathematical language. According to Galileo Galilei, the laws of nature are written in the language of mathematics. So for those who do not know Galileo Galilei, he is the famous scientist, mathematician who discovered the telescope. Okay, so the definition of language. Language is a systematic way of communicating with other people by the use of sounds or conventional symbols. It is a system of words used in a particular discipline. So dili lang kay English ang naay language. We also have the language of mathematics. We also have the language of technology. So kana siya. So mathematics has its own language and it's using different symbols as well. Okay, let's start first by getting to know the terms that were already discussed to you since high school, and we will be looking back to these terms. So the first term will be the variable. Okay, what is a variable? Okay, a variable is used as a placeholder. So meaning it is something that can be replaced, or as something, a variable is something that can be replaced by any number in a given equation or in a given function. So common variables are x, y, and z. So kanang minguntag x squared plus 3 equals 5. So x is the variable there. Now the coefficient, a number preceding a placeholder. So whenever there is a placeholder, there will be a number preceding it, meaning nag-una, a number that comes first before the placeholder, before x, before y, or before z. Now, that number is called the coefficient. So whenever there is no coefficient being found before a variable, it is automatically that the coefficient is 1. Example, x plus y equals z. So x has no number before it, therefore the coefficient is automatically 1. The same way with the exponent. When there is no exponent found above, then automatically the exponent is 1. Okay, next is the constant. It is a solo number in a mathematical statement, meaning niingon man ta that coefficient is a number. So when a number is succeeded by a placeholder, a number is being followed by a variable such as x, y, or z, then that number is a coefficient. But when the number is alone, wala siya nagsunod nga variable, then that number is referred to as a constant. Okay, next is the exponent. So ako na siyang gipaspas kay everything is already a recap from high school. Okay, exponent. It is a small value written on the upper right of a variable or a coefficient. A small value written on the upper right. Remember, it's on the upper right, not on the upper left. Okay. So, gamay na siya nga pagkabutang, mura siya og superscript. So, that is an exponent. It can be found at the right or of a variable or at the right of a coefficient. Even a constant may have an exponent. Okay. Example. 2x cubed plus 5. In this example, 2 is our coefficient because it is a number preceding the variable. And of course, x is our variable. And then 3 is our exponent. And then 5 is our constant. So, sayon ra kayo kay gila-ila ra nato og balik ang entire concepts or names of this, the basic concepts of this topic. Okay, now, identify the value being highlighted or identify unsa may mga names ana niya. Okay, in the example, 4x squared equals 5. What do you think is the name of this one being highlighted? Unsay pangan ana niya? Okay.
Component.
Unsay component? O anything of component ko no? Unsay tawag ana niya? Variable. Okay. Next. Z to the power of 4 minus 1. 4 is an exponent. Okay. 3 equals 5y. 5 is duha basta number, di ba? Either coefficient or a constant. But 5 is preceding a variable. Therefore, 5 is a coefficient. And 4 equals 2 to the power of x. 4 is a solo number. Therefore, it is constant. Okay, now the vocabulary of mathematics. So, remember the 10 digits because 10 digits ra jud ang ato ang dapat nga hinumduman. And these are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, sir, nga nung 10 digit raman, how about 10? You just put together 1 and 0, and that is 10. How about 12? You just put together 1 and 2, and that is 12. How about 102? You put together 1, 0, then 2, and that is 102. So again, there are only 10 digits that you have to remember. Okay, the operations and sets. Okay, so of course we already knew the 4 basic operations, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And then you have to remember the set operations such as this symbol is called the union. This one is the intersection. This one is the subset. And the other one is the superset. Okay, later I'll be discussing them one by one. Okay, the stand-in or variables. So the stand-in for variables. So again, akong i-discuss ganina, X, Y, or Z. It can also be W. Okay. Now, the logic symbol, which will be discussed next meeting, kay taas na kaayo na siya. So logic symbols, we have this one. This is the AND symbol. AND. This is the OR symbol. This is the summation symbol. And this is the symbol for there exist. And this is the symbol for all. Again, and, or, the summation of there exist and for all. Okay, so those are the logic symbols, and, or, the summation of there exist and for all. Okay, the set notation. N, Z, R, Q, C, F, W. So, capital letters ang ginamit ana niya. So, I would like to emphasize that N stands for natural numbers or the counting numbers. And the natural numbers or the counting numbers such as 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The counting numbers or the natural numbers starts with 1. Count of, we always start with 1. Okay, the Z. Z stands for the integers. the integers are negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Meaning from negative infinity until positive infinity, including 0, but there are no decimals. So negative 6, that is an integer. Negative 1,000 is an integer. 1/2 is not an integer. 0 is an integer. Okay. Next is real numbers. Real numbers or the real numbers. So real numbers, kanang mga numbers nga tinuod ko no. Meaning therefore, they are not imaginary. They are not imaginary in a sense that when we will gonna have a graphing of it, hindi siya broken line. Meaning, makita siya all throughout. So, dili siya broken line. So, muna siya, you have to remember that those are real numbers. Tanan nga numbers that you can think of. Those are real numbers. Next, the Q. The Q stands for the quotient. Quotient for rational numbers. Again, N ganina for natural numbers, Z for integers. By the way, nganong Z ang symbol niya? Because of the word zal. Zal is a Greek word for numbers. Okay, so those are integers. R for real numbers. Q for rational numbers. And Q because for the word quotient. Meaning, tanan nga fractional in form, including a fraction that has a denominator of 1. Those are rational numbers. Example, 1/2, 1/3. Ana siya. Those are rational numbers. Another example, 3. 3 is a rational number. Nga naman, 3 over 1 is also 3. So meaning tanan denominator of 1 is also a rational number. Okay, now C stands for the complex numbers. Numbers that are imaginary. Katong sa una pag high school ninyo, I don't know if nakaabot mo ana. 4th year high school, katong na ay mga I, 2I, 4I, 5I, 3I. Those are the square root of negative numbers. Example, the square root of negative 4 is 2I. So 2 imaginary. Because even your calculator will not be able to imagine it. Even your calculator may not be able to solve it. That's why it's imaginary. So F stands for fractions. So fractions may be decimal, but when it comes to decimal, tanan ha fractions ha, pero dili na pwede diri ang katong mga numbers nga integers. Di na pwede. Fractions ra jud, walay denominator nga 1. Dili sad pwede ang denominator nga 0. So, example, 1/2, 1/3. Those fractions. Now, nganong ma-appeal man ang decimals dire? Remember, every fraction there is a corresponding decimal. So, example, 1/2. That is equivalent to 0.5. Another example is 1/3. That is equivalent to 0.333333 and so on. So, balik-balik ra na nga 3. Now, therefore, how will you identify that a decimal has a fraction corresponding? For as long as the decimal is non-terminating and then non-repeating. So, muna siya ang naana siya corresponding a fraction. So, kung terminating naana siya fraction. So, example, 0.125. Naana siya fraction nga corresponding. Pero kung non-terminating siya, naaga po siya corresponding kung repeating siya. Kato, example na to, 0.3333. Kato siya, naato siya corresponding nga fraction. Pero kung non-terminating, dili siya mahuman, unya, non-repeating, di saan magbalik-balik ang mga numero, walay pattern. Example, 0.161213149658, kana, walay pattern. Bisag unsa lang ang numero, unya, din di siya mahuman. Those are not, cannot be converted into fractions. So again, ang ma-convert og fractions kay kadtong mo repeat ang numbers basta non-terminating Or katong terminating mismo, katong maputol ang decimal, like 0.05. Kana siya, ma-fraction na siya. Okay, W are whole numbers. Okay, sige lang later on mahimay-himay rata ni, napata sa vocabulary of mathematics. Next, the constant and coefficients. Okay, constants and coefficients, by the way, again, are numbers, but they can also be literally kanang mga letters. So, muna siya gitawag og literal coefficients. So, usually, the literal coefficients are A, B, C, D, and E. Muna siya. If you would remember, the equation of a line is AX plus BY plus C equals 0. That is the equation of the line. AX plus BY plus C equals 0. A there, ako isuwat be, para mas maklaro ninyo. A there is a coefficient. Again, AX plus BY plus C equals 0. Now, si A dira is a coefficient, B diri is a coefficient, C is a constant. So, kana A, B, C, D, E kana siya, usually constant na siya. And the Y that here is a variable and the Y here is a variable. And this is an example of the equation of a line. So, equation of a line. Okay, so, translation of phrases to mathematical expression. Dili na nagsugod, medyo paano siya, kanang challenging. The sum of a number and 10. The sum of a number and 10. So what do you think will be the mathematical symbol of the sum of a number and 10? So if we were gonna say that a number is a variable, let's say we were gonna use x as a variable, then you will get the sum of the variable x and 10, and then that would be, okay, x plus 10. Diba? Sayon ra. The product of two numbers. The product of two numbers. Remember, duha ka number ang ato ang gamiton. Number man, di ka pwede mo gamit o mga symbol diri. Pero product, that's multiplication. So pwede ta gamit og variable. Okay, and that is xy. Remember, putting together the variables side by side means multiplication. xy means x times y. You may use the symbol nga katong sa una nga katong dot product or the parentheses. So you may use those symbols to denote that that is a multiplication. Okay, next. The product of -1 and a number. The product of -1 and a number. So that will be, okay, -x. Remember that when there is no number preceding to x, it means 1. But since it's -1, that's why there is negative preceding x. So -1x. Okay, or -x. Okay, 3 less than twice a number. Okay, diri na, nagsugod na ang challenging part. 3 less than twice a number. Now, when you were gonna start with 3, basta dili gali gamiton ang term nga minus or is subtracted by or subtracted to, kana siya, basta ka na galing gamiton nga term, always remember this one, greater than or less than, meaning minus na siya. So, 3 less than twice a number. Kung yung kag twice a number, kaduhaon nimo ang number. Let's say the number is x. The number is x. Twice a number is 2x. Okay. Now, 3 less than twice a number. So, 3, kay bawa na taana. Less than is minus. Di ka pwede mingon nga 3 less than katong yung ana nga symbol. Wrong nga siya. Okay. Kay, ang pagkabasa ato is 3 is less than man. Diba? Diri wa may word nga is. 3 less than twice a number. Meaning, ang twice a number, kuhaan nimo og tulo. Therefore, kung ang twice a number kuhaan og tulo, 2x minus 3. Mubali ang ato ang pagkuan niya ha. Mubali ang ato ang pagsuwat niya. So 3 less than a number is 2x minus 3. Ang kag 5 less than twice a number, 2x minus 5. Og mingon kag a number less than 3, so muna siya nga mabali na sa nato 3 minus x, a number naman to. If twice a number less than 3, that is 3 minus 2x. So muna'y dapat natong timanan basta less than gali og even greater than. Pero ang greater than di naman problema. Kaya ang greater than manggod addition manggod na siya. Remember that in addition di mausab. Diba? Commutative ang addition. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Balihon na to. 2 plus 1 equals 3. But in subtraction, it's not commutative. 2 minus 1 is 1. But 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Those are different things. Those are different values. So, dili pwede mabali. Basta negative. Basta subtraction. Pero addition, pwede natong mabali. Okay. Next. There are 10 more cars than Jeep. There are 10 more cars than Jeep. Okay, so let's say that the Jeep is J. Let's say that the Jeep is J. And let's say that the cars is C. Kinsa may mas daghan? Si car or si Jeep? Muna atong timanan. Kinsa mas daghan? There are 10 more cars than Jeep. Meaning mas daghan ang cars. 10 more cars than Jeep. Mas daghan ang car kaysa sa Jeep. So, kinsay matong dugangan og 10? Si car or si Jeep? Para magkapareha silang duha. Kung mas daghan man di ay si car kaysa kang Jeep, so si Jeep dapat ang dugangan natong 10. So, that is C equals J plus 10 para ma-equal silang duha. Diba? So, dapat dili lang siya mag-follow ka sa order of mathematics, but this is more on comprehension and analysis. This is more on comprehension and analysis. Mathematics is not memorization. You cannot memorize mathematics alone. Dili na mo pwede makuha og dakong grado just by memorizing it alone. You have to comprehend everything and you have to analyze everything para masayon siya. Okay, next. The sum of squares of two numbers. The sum of squares of the two numbers. Meaning, kung naay two numbers, let's say for example x and y, the two numbers are x and y. Kung sa atong gibuhat, the sum of squares of two numbers, una ba nga gi-square siya usa pa gisum or gisum siya usa siya gi-square? Kung atong sabton, the sum of squares of two numbers, meaning naka-square daan ang duha ka number, usa siya gikwaan nato og sum. Therefore, gi-square nato si x, gi-square sa nato si y, usa gikwaan og sum, and sum is addition. So, therefore, x squared plus y squared. Diba? Medyo libog na. Pero kung atong balihon, the square of the sum of two numbers, dira, i-add na to ang duha ka number, usa pa is square. The square of the sum of two number. Diba? So, the sum of squares of two number, meaning, wa is square ang duha ka number, usa siya kwaan na to og sum. Muna sabta pag maayo ang concept. Now, 1/2 times the sum of two numbers. O kani, kung sa yung buhaton, 1/2 sila or isum sila daan. 1/2 times the sum of two numbers. So, the sum of two numbers ang unahon. Diba? So, if sum of two numbers ang unahon, x plus y. Then 1/2 times, so times 1/2. Diba? Pwede na siya, 1/2 times x plus y. Pero, og kanang dat imong gamiton si 1/2 gimultiply ra na nimo kang x, which is wrong. Dili pwede. So dapat naatay symbol nga x plus y kana nga parenthesis so that you can denote that you have to add first x and y before ka mo continue in getting in multiplying it by half. So muna siya ha. So dapat timan-an nato ang mga tools in solving. Okay. So in multiplying it, pwede wala na kay operation nga symbol such as parenthesis, pero all over 2. X plus y all over 2. Parihara na sila. Parihara na sila og answer. Now, example no, para mas maklaro jud nato. 2 plus 4 divided by 3. All over 3. So, 2 plus 4, 6 divided by 3. So, the answer is 3. The answer is 2. Diba? 2 plus 4 equals 6 divided by 3. The answer is 2. Pero kung ato siyang multiply by 1/3, 1/3 man ang kuan divide by 3. Multiply by 1/3. So, unahon nato si 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6 times 1/3. 2 ra gihapon ang answer. So, parihara na siya si 1/2. Kana siya 1/2 times the quantity x plus y or kani siya nga pagkasuwat. So, you choose asa na siya. Kay ang math, daghang ways para ma-solve siya. Pero dapat, sakto ang imuhang pamaagi. Okay, topic 2. Manata sa topic 1. Munta niingon ko no nga, taas jud kayo ang topic. That's why the topic 3 it will be discussed separately by next meeting. Okay, the language of set. Okay, set. It is a formal mathematical term. Was introduced in 1879 by George Cantor. So, George Ferdinand Ludwig Philipp Cantor was a German mathematician. He created the set theory, which has become the fundamental theory in mathematics. So, siya naka-create sa set theory. So, he is called the father of set theory. Okay. So refers to the collection of objects sharing the same characteristics. Muna ang tawag sa set. For example, the set of school supplies sharing of same characteristics. Dapat school supplies. Okay. Sige, these objects are called elements. So, kanang collection of objects sharing the same characteristics, ang tawag sa objects ana is element. Element ang tawag niya. Okay. So, sa hakay na okay. Now, example. The set of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. These are, kung saan nga akong gihatag na sample ganina, the language of mathematics. Katong kuan. The set notation. Sa set notation, kung saan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tara. Natural numbers or the counting numbers. Diba? So muna, tinan din na nato siya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so nag-start og 1. Then 2, counting na siya. Okay. So the example is a set of natural numbers n. A set must always contain 1 open and 1 closed braces. So usa ka open brace and usa ka closed nga brace. So muna siya dapat natong timan-an. Usa ka open brace and usa ka closed nga brace. Dili sad pwede nga parenthesis ang gamiton. Dili sad pwede nga bracket ang gamiton. Braces jud ang gamiton basta set. Okay. When the set is followed by an ellipsis, kanang ... it simply means that the set is continued and is read and so forth. Okay, example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so forth. Meaning the set continues. Walay kahumanan. Okay. Muna siya meaning basta na ay ... We call that the ellipsis. Okay. Ang basa and so forth. Okay. 2 ways in writing a set. Naiduha ka pa maagi ato pagsuwat sa katong counting numbers. So, we have the set roster notation and we also, kana siya set roster notation meaning ato ara siyang isuwat individually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ellipsis and so on. Set roster notation. Meaning, from the word roster, meaning ang tahan, imurang ibutang. Or we have the set builder notation. Set builder notation is somewhat shorter than the set roster notation. Shorter than the set roster notation, however, more analytical than the set roster notation. Okay, ang set roster is ilista lang nato. The set builder, you have to describe them. Okay. X such that X is an element of a natural number. Parihara na sila o gimin. X such that X is an element of natural number. This symbol is X. This symbol is such that ang basa ana niya. Such that. This symbol is element. Nya kani natural number. Balik ko na to. X such that X is an element of natural number. So, di sad ta magbinasa og mag-ininsik no nga di nato pabuntangan og mga preposition, conjunction unsa pa na siya. So, X such that X is an element. Insad kami nga X such that X element natural. Dili, di ba? Mura tag insik ana. So, butangan nato og kanang grammatically correct. X such that X is an element of a natural number. So, mo na siya. Paka na to. Okay, the two examples above describe the same set. The same set ra na sila. Kanang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And X such that X is an element of natural number. Asay mas taas. Mas taas si set roster. Si set builder mas mobo. Asa may mas libog. Si set builder mas libog. Kay ana siya, kaning example sayon pa man ni. Pero the set roster, mas dali siya masabtan. However, there are cases that you cannot answer by using set roster, but you have no choice but to use set builder. There are cases that you cannot answer by using set builder, but you have no choice but to answer in set roster. Muna, na mga butang nga dili siya pwede maansiran sa duha. Ang usa ra jud ka pamaagi. Diba? So, muna nga dapat sabto nato ang duha. They are describing the same set. Kana silang duha parihara na gimin. So meaning kanang duha parihang sakto. Okay? So you have to remember that. Okay, operations on sets. Okay, subset. If A and B sets, then A is called the subset of B. Written A is subset of B. If and only if every element of A is also an element of B. Meaning, kani siya nga example, by the way, is a subset. This is A subset. Okay? Now, A is a subset of B. Means that, ito nga mga symbol ganina, for all X such that X is an element of A, implies that X is an element of B as well. Okay? Meaning, kung unsay naa ni A, naa ni B. In fact, tanan nga naa ni A, naa ni B. Walay mas isa nga wala. Diba? Only if every element of A is also in B. Every tanan jud nga naa ni A, naa ka B. Okay. It can be read as A is a subset of B, A is contained in B, or B contains A. So, parihara na gimin, ha? Ang basaan ni A is a subset of B, A is contained in B, or B contains A. Parihara na siya, o basa. Okay. Now, note, a set always a subset of its own self. Diba, kaya niingon man ta, nga tanan nga naa ni A, naa ni B. Then therefore, A is a subset of B. So probably si B mas dako kaysa kang A. Diba? For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Si B kay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. O si 1, 2, 3, 4, naasad kang B. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 man kang B. Pero di sila pareha. Now, a set is always a subset of its own self. Meaning, A is always a subset of A. A is always a subset of A. Nga naman, si 1, 2, 3, 4, naamang gihapon kang 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, it's always a subset of its own self. That's a general rule. Nga, a set is always a subset of its own self. Kaya walay set nga wala makita ang iyahang kaugalingon sa iyahang kaugalingon. Di ba? So, tanan nga elements nga naa niya makita sa iyahang kaugalingon mismo. So, that's why a set is always a subset of its own set. Okay. When all elements in A is in B, but there is at least one element in B that is not in A, then A is a proper subset of B. Now, kanina nga akong gidiscuss, A is a proper subset of B when there is at least one usa ka element nga naa ni B pero wala kang A. Ito akong example ganina, A, 1, 2, 3, 4. B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Di ba si 5, naa kang B, pero wala kang A. Then therefore, A is a proper subset of B. A is a proper subset of B. A is also a subset of B in general. So A is also a subset of B. Pero, dili tanan nga proper subset is a subset. Klaro ho nako, dili tanang proper subset is a subset. Kaya naay subset nga dili siya proper. Or naay proper nga dili siya subset. Okay. So proper subset siya pero dili siya subset nga kanang naa di symbol nga murag equality ba? Na. For example, si A ug si B, pareha jud sila mismo og sulod. Like for example, si A is 1, 2, 3. Si B is 1, 2, 3. Di ba pareha sila og sulod? Pero lain-lain sila nga set. Lahi si A, lahi sad si B. Pero pareha sila nga ang sulod kay 1, 2, and 3. Then therefore, kay pareha man sila og sulod silang duha, A is a subset of B. Tanan nga naa ni A, naasad kang B. In fact, si B is a subset of A as well. Ano man, tanan nga naa ni B, naasad kang A. Diba? So, mo na siya concept sa subset. Okay. Sige, let's say for example, A is equal to the set of X such that X element of W. Unsa gito ning W? Whole numbers. By the way, whole numbers is just like a natural number, but natural number starts from 1, whole number starts from 0. So whole number starts with 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Aha, klaro. Okay, B. B is X such that X is a natural number, meaning nag-start og 1. Pero, naisumpay, wherein X is less than or equal to 100. So, unsa may mga value? Si A is, pero na to, si A is, tanan nga whole number. So, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Muna siya. Si B is, nagsugod kang 1, followed by 2, 3, and so on. Pero na kinutuban, X is less than or equal to 100. Kutob siya kang 99? Kutob kang 100. Dili 99. Ano man na may equal to? Diba? Less than or equal to 100. Meaning 100 is included. So pila din ni kabuok ang B? 100 kabuok ang B. Si A, dili maihap. Perting daghana and so on good na siya. One siya kinutuban. Si C, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So, 5 ra kabuok, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Okay, maura na siya ang atoang C. Okay, 5 ra kabuok. So, in fact, A and B are set builder. C is set roster. Okay, this is how I'll gonna give you a quiz. So, ihunan niya ang pagpangutanan ako. Evaluate the truth or falsity of each of the following statement. A is a subset of B. Tanan ba nga naa kang A, naasad kang B? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tanan ba nga naa ni A, naasad kang B? Ang tubag? Dili. Kay, naay naa ni A, nga wala kang B. Maski usa lang. Then therefore, it's not a subset. Unsa man ang naa ni A, nga wala kang B? 0. Diba? Ana lang daan, 0. Unsa pa? 101. Diba? Kaya diba si B to brag 100, pero si A, continue na 101, 102, 103, 1 million, 1 trillion, magpadayon na si A. So, perting taasa, therefore, it's false. It's false. Okay. Number 2, C is a proper subset of A. Tanan ba nga naa ni A? No, C is a proper subset of A. Tanan ba nga naa ni C naasad ang A? Unya, tanan nga naa ni C naasad kang A. Naa ba si 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 kang A? So the answer is true. Ano man? Whole numbers man na 100, 200,
True.
300, 400. Diba? So true. Okay, number 3. C and B have at least one element that is common. Na ako ning usa ka element nga common nga makita kang C ug kang B. Okay, the answer is true. Okay, unsa man? 100. Okay. Next, C is a subset of B. Tanan ba nga naa ni C naa kang B? What's the answer?
Dili. Wala. False.
False.
Dili.
False.
Kay si C na ay 200, 300, 400, 500. Si B kutubra kang 100. Okay, false. Now, C is a subset of C. The answer is true. Ano man? Remember, a set is always a subset of its own. Diba? Naaman to siya sa note. Okay. Next, union. Union is simply A union B, means that for all x such as x element of A, or x is an element of B. Meaning, tanan nga ni A ug naa kang B, imo rang i-combine. That's union. So ato ra siyang pasayon nun. Tanan nga naa ni A ug naa kang B, combine ra na nimo. Simply combine whatever elements that are found in both sets. Do not write repeated numbers more than once. So kung si A na ay 1, 2, 3, si B na ay 3, 4, 5, so ayo isuwat nga 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Do not write repeated numbers more than once. Kausa ra si 3. Naa siya ni A, naa sa kang B, kausa lang siya suwat. Parihara man na siya. Okay, so the combination A union B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diba? Kaya basta nyo mayroon ka, si A, pila may cardinality ni A. By the way, cardinality is the number of sets inside A, inside a set. For example, A, what's the cardinality of A? 1, 2, 3 man siya. O cardinality is 3. Tulo ka book elements nasa sa sud ni A. Pila may cardinality ni B? Tulo sad, 3, 4, 5. Now, what's the cardinality of A union B? Mo answer niya mo 6 nga naman 3 plus 3 6 man. That's wrong. Nga naman 3 is already repeated. 1 2 3 unya 3 4 5. Si 3 is repeated. So you will gonna count them once. So therefore the cardinality of A union B is 5. Di ba? Kanibalik raman to si 3. Okay. So simply combine them and then do not write repeated numbers. Example, A is 1 2 3 4 5 6. B is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. C is 0, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A union B. B. A, i-combine nato kang B. Inya ato na lang sa siyang isuwat na set formation, unya, arrange sa siya numerical order. Nganong i-arrange mo nato numerical order, aron dili na ta maglibog. Diba? Kay aron ikatag na nimo, agoy, muratag ko ani, nagsaksak sinagol. So, atong i-arrange. Example, A union B, i-combine ra si A ug si B, ang numbers nga mo balik, isuwat og kausa. So, A union B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
8, 10.
walay 7, 8, 10. Okay, muna siya answer. Di ba? Iatura siyang isuwat og kausa ang mga numbers nga nagbalik-balik. Di ba? Nya din di ka moingon nga, pila may cardinality di ay ni A? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unom. Pila cardinality ni B? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 5. Oh. Unom plus 5, 11. Tanaw na to, B, A union B, 11 ba jud ka buok? Oh, ihip mo na to, usa, duha, tulo, upat, 5, unom, 7, 8. 8 raman ka buok. Ngano man, naa may mga numero nga nagbalik-balik. So, dili tinuod ha nga, kung imo siyang i-combine, parihara nag-i-add nimo ang ilang duha cardinality. Cardinality is the number of sets inside or the number of elements inside a set. Okay. A union C. Tarta ni 0. Kaya kinagamihan man si 0. Followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
5,
6,
6,
7,
7,
7,
9, 10.
9,
9, 10.
10. Okay, walay 8, di ba? Okay, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Okay. Cardinality, B union C. Tara, B ug C. Combine ra na to. 0, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6,
6, 7, 8, 9,
and
10.
10.
Okay. Very good. Oh. Sunod, A union B union C. Tanan nga naa ni A, naa ni B, ug naa ni C. 0, 1,
2,
2, 3, 4, 5,
6,
7,
8, 9,
8,
10.
9, 10.
10.
Oh,
And
sila
10.
tanan. Di ba? Naa. Sila tanan naa. Right? Pakita man ni bisag kinsa. Okay, that's union. Di ba sa yun nakasabton ang union.
Union.
Okay, next intersection. Intersection is for all x such that x element of A and x element in B. And naman siya, di naman siya or. Kung and na gani, meaning kadtura yung makita ni A, makita sad ni B, mora ipon. Kadtong naa ni A ug naa ni B, og ha, naa ni A ug naa ni B. So meaning, dili pwede ang mga wa nakita. Okay. So simply write only those elements that are found in both sets. When no elements that are common in both sets, it is considered to be a null set or an empty set. So that's the symbol for null set and empty set. Null set. Okay, kani. Null set and then empty set. Ana siya nga symbol. Kung walay common nga makita. Kung naagay common nga makita, mo to siya isuwat. For example, A, 1, 2, 3. B, 3, 4, 5. Kung sa may common, 3. So, usa ra kabuk ang masud sa set. Okay. Sige. Example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The same given. A intersection B. Tanan nga makita ni A ug makita ni B. Kadtura jud makita ni A nga naa sad kang B. Unsa man?
2,
2,
4,
4,
6,
and
6,
okay, 2, 4, 6 ra. Di ba wala labot tong uban? Okay. A union A intersection C.
3,
3,
3,
5.
5,
5. Okay, 3, 5
5.
ra. Di ba wala na ilahin? B intersection C. Na?
Wala.
10,
10.
10,
10,
10.
10. Ora?
Ora.
10 ra. Di ba? Okay. Karon, kanang makita ni A, makita siya ni B, makita pa jud siya ni C. Base 1, tanaw na to. Na kang A, wala kang B, wala kang C, so may labot.
Wala.
Si 2. Na kang A, na kang B, pero na siya kang C? Wala.
wala,
3. Wala diri kang B.
Wala.
Si 4. Na kang B, pero wala kang C, may
wala
labot.
kang C,
5. Wala
Wala.
kang B.
wala kang B,
Wala.
6.
Wala
Na
kang
pero diri
C.
1 lang. 7.
Wala.
Wala.
wala,
8.
Wala.
Wala. 9.
Wala.
Wala.
Diri sa duha, pero wala diri. So,
Wala tanan.
null set or
Null set.
empty.
empty,
Diba? Wala may common na makita sa tanan. Ay, ang atong i-combine diri, ang atong i-compare diri tulo naman kabuok, di ba? Oh, so mo na siya atong timan-an. Basta intersection, mo to. Okay, the function. Okay, last na jud siya, function. Okay. Definition of function. A function is a relation in which each element of the domain is paired with exactly one element of the range. Okay, X is paired with Y, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, x sub 3, y sub 3, that is function 1 to 1. Unsay pares ni x sub 1, y sub 1, usa ra jud kabuk iyang pares. Function na siya 1 to 1. Okay, kung ang partner ni x sub 2 kay usa, ang partner ni x sub 3 kay usa si y sub 3, pareha silang partner. Function pa ba gihapon? Function gihapon. Muna siya gitawag na to many to 1. Duha ka buok ang nag-ilog kang y. Duha ka buok ang nag-ilog kang y. Kanang duha nag-ilog aning usa. Pero function gihapon siya. Nganuman, para kang x, usa ra iyang pares si y raman. Diba tinud-anay gihapon iyahang relation, function gihapon siya. Okay, pero kung kaning si x na gani duha na pares, ay di na maayo. Not a function na siya. Nganuman, 1 to many naman na. Not a function when x values or the domain is paired with 2 or more ranges. So kung duha na gali ang partner sa ato ang x, ilisan na to atong x, oy kung duha na partner, oy bagagnaw. Di ba? So, muna nga not a function. Okay. Sige. Now, vertical line test. How to know whether in a graph kanang kuan siya, function siya. You drop a line. Vertical line. Kanang barog, kanang linya nga ga barog. Ana, you drop a line. Kung kausara gay siya mo intersect, function siya. Example, kana kausara siya na intersect, function. Okay, kana kausara sa function. Diri, agoy, lapas nagka usa, kaduha na siya, not a function. This one, function. The other one, function. Okay. Nana sila mga pangan kana tanan nga graph ha. They call this the linear. We call this the logarithmic. Call this the quadratic circle. This is the cubic function. And last is the quadratic or the parabola. Okay. Quadratic circle and then the quadratic parabola. So, muna siya. Daghan man sila hyperbola. Daghan man ang quadratic functions. Okay. Now, table of values. Evaluate the function with the given value of x. So, kainom do money, f of x is equal to x power of 2 minus 1 all over x minus 1. Ilisan na ning value kaning ato ang x. Ilisan na to. Usually, 5 ka values, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. Para makadrawing taog graph niya. Okay. Remember, when the value is negative 2, the answer will be negative 1. Ano man? Substitute x with negative 2. Ana, ilistan ra nag negative 2 na to. Squared minus 1. So negative 2 squared is positive 4 minus 1. Negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3 equals 3 over negative 3 equals 1. Negative 1. Okay. Sige, let's try negative 1. Okay. Maghatag na ko ninyo ko example sa negative 1. Dili lang na ko siya i-solve ha. Ato ilisan og color para lisyo. Okay, ilisan ako ang color ang ako ang ink. Di man siya masugot. Kanina lang, diretso na lang ta. Okay, now, negative 1 atong value. So that is f of negative 1 is equal to negative 1 squared minus 1 over negative 1 minus 1 equals negative 1 squared is 1 minus 1 negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. 1 minus 1 over negative 2. 0 divided by negative 2 is 0. Okay. Okay. Next is, so 0. So answer is 1. 1, ang value, indeterminate. Kung saan man yung indeterminate? Kana bang any value sa babaw, unya pagkahuman divided by 0. Indeterminate na siya. Dili siya ma-determine. Okay, then 2, the answer is 3. Okay. So, muna siya ang pag-solve. Now, ako i-try og kuan ha, discuss ni siya. I-try og discuss ni siya. So, f of 1. Um, 10. Okay. F, try na to. 1 equals 1 squared all over 1 minus 1. Indeterminate is 0 divided by 0 di ay. 1 minus 1 is over 1 minus 1. 0 divided by 0. Kasi mo answer, maingon mo nga 0 divided by 0 is 0. The answer is indeterminate. Ano sa may meaning aning indeterminate? Okay. The meaning of indeterminate is this. Okay, last na siya nga slide. Okay. The meaning of indeterminate is this. Remember that multiplication and addition, multiplication and division are kanang opposing kuan symbols. So, meaning that kung mingon tag 4 divided by 2, the answer is 2. Kung mingon tag 27 divided by 9, the answer is 3. So meaning, kung atong baliktaron, 2 times 2, the answer is 4. 3 times 9, the answer is 27. Mubaliktad siya ba? So, now, kung may kag 0 divided by 0, the answer is 0. Okay, try ko na nato. 0 times 0, the answer is 0. Hala, sakto man no. Sakto. Pero suwayan taha nato ang lain nga number. 0 divided by 0, akong answer kay dili 0. 1 akong answer. Try na to. 1 times 0, the answer is 0. Sakto gihapon kung 1 akong answer. O 0 divided by 0, kay ang answer ni Kuan kanang ni Maria Aguanta kay 50. 0 divided by 0 is 50. 50 times 0, the answer is 0. Agoy, sakto gihapon. Unya ang answer ni Kuan ni Jose, 0 divided by 0 is equal to 150. 150. 150 times 0. The answer is 0. So, sakto gihapon. Therefore, tanan nga value nga pwede nato nga isuwat dira, sakto. Pwede si 0, pwede si 1, pwede si 50, pwede si 150, pwede si 1 million. Pero kinsa man jud tinuod ani nila nga answer. We cannot determine. That's why it's called indeterminate. It's called indeterminate because there are many values that could be possibly cannot define it. So we cannot determine. Okay. So, moto siya ang ato ang discussion. Any questions with regards to the topic? You may now unmute yourselves for you to ask questions. You may unmute yourselves if you want to ask questions. If you have any questions, please unmute yourselves.
Uy, puta na mo, uy.
Unsa man? Sige, Eric. Unsa pangutan na Eric?
Wala si Roy na nakalitan ra na dito lang master ba?
Ano man, daghan na kayo mga concepts?
Oh.
Okay, so that was how many slides? We had discussed about taas-taas jud to, na discussion. Pero topic 1 and topic 2 lang to siya. So, yes, if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna stop the recording from here.